In this Autodesk Fusion tutorial, I'm going to show you how to model the E26 light bulb threads. These are curved threads, and in the Autodesk Fusion thread tool, we don't have threads for an E26 light bulb. The International Electrical Commission, or the IEC, sets the thread standards for an E26. It's under standard 7004-21A-2. So we'll go ahead and use those dimensions to create our custom threads. Of course, you could make an XML custom thread file, but this method allows us to do everything inside Fusion using just a few simple tools and sketches. To get started, I'm going to work in hybrid design. If you're in part design, just click the pencil and change to hybrid design. Then I'm going to right click at the top level component and make new component. I'll call this E26 threads. Then I'll create a sketch. Create it on the front plane here. Then draw a line by selecting the line tool. Click the origin and draw straight up. There are standards on how tall the threads can be. We need at least 16.3 plus some extra dimensions on the top and bottom. But 16.3 is a good enough for the thread section. Then press L and draw straight out from the origin. The outside major diameter of E26 threads is 26 millimeters. We'll multiply that by pi, which is 3.14, and press enter. The thread pitch of E26 threads is 3.629. Make sure that this line is vertical. Then draw one more line from this point all the way to the origin. Press escape, select both of these lines, press X to make them construction lines. Now we're finished with this sketch. Select construct, plane along a path, and select this path. Drag the plane until it bumps up to the origin, and then press OK. Orbit around, select create sketch, and click that plane that you just made along a path. Now we're going to draw the profile for E26 light bulb threads. Press L for the line tool, click the origin. Remember, the major diameter or the outer diameter of the threads is 26, but this is a radius, so we want 26 divided by 2. Of course, you could type 13, but sometimes you don't have such a nice number as 26. Then we need two arcs. Select create, arc, 3-point arc. Click once, then move down, then drag out an arc. Click on the top part of this arc, then up, and make another arc. Select the tangent constraint and make both of these arcs tangent. Use the vertical constraint and make the arcs vertically constrained to each other. Then select the equal constraint and make both of the arcs equal. Press D to dimension them. For an E26 light bulb thread, the radius is 1.191 millimeters. Now we can basically position them kind of where it's going to go. We want this outside arc to be coincident with this point. So select it, then select coincident and click here. With the coincident constraint still selected, click this point and this line. We need to make a profile because we're going to sweep this around to make the E26 threads. Press L, click here, and drag down to here. Since this line splits our profile, we can select it and press X, so it's a construction line. Now I can select this entire profile. Now we're ready to finish the sketch. We have everything we need to sweep the E26 light bulb threads around, but we need somewhere to put our threads. So create, cylinder, select the ground plane, click the origin, and drag out. We need to make this cylinder the size of the minor diameter of the threads, which is 24.72 millimeters. And we know our height, which was 16.3 from earlier. Now we're ready to create the sweep that will make the E26 threads. Select create, sweep. In Autodesk Fusion, you need to select a profile, then a path. Select this vertical path. Make sure the operation is join. Now we need to twist it around, so type 360 for one revolution times the height, 16.3, and then divided by the pitch, 3.629. Then select OK. This looks great, except on an E26 bulb, this is also rounded. We can use a fillet to fix that. Select fillet, then select this line and this line, and we know the radius is 1.191 millimeters. Press OK. Now we have everything that is nice in the middle for our E26 threads, but we need to fix the bottom. On a light bulb, it tapers down to make an electrical contact, and this is a standardized measurement. So we'll create a sketch on the ground plane. Select sketch and then the ground plane. Press C for a circle. This bottom part can have a minimum diameter of 15.24 and a maximum diameter of 17.01. So let's make it 16. Press C, select the origin, and type 16 millimeters. Press E to extrude. Our height is going to be 16.3. Instead of cut, make the operation intersect. Everything disappears, no problem. Change the taper angle to 60 degrees. Suddenly now we have a nice chamfer at the bottom of our E26 threads. Press OK. There's a little bit more of an extension at the top here. So let's create an offset plane. Select offset plane, select the ground plane, and we'll go up 16.3 plus 3. Press OK. Create a sketch on this plane. Press C to create a circle, select the origin, and we know the major diameter of the E26 threads is 26 millimeters, so type 26. Press E to extrude. We already have that profile selected, and instead of a distance, we're going to go to an object. Orbit around until you see where the threads end. Zoom in and click the point that's at the bottom of that thread. Instead of cut, select join. Press OK. On many E26 threads, there's a little lip here for clamping it on with a machine when you put it on the light bulb. So we'll make another sketch. We can use that same construction plane. Press C, and we know the major diameter is 26, so type 26 plus 0.5. Press E and go up 0.5. Make sure the operation is join. So now we have that lip that's needed at the top. But there's a lot of things missing on this. We need to make sure that we fillet out all the edges. Select fillet, click this bottom edge, this sharp edge right here, and then orbit up and click this edge right here that's at the top of the threads. Type in 1.191 for the radius, press enter. That cleans up the threads pretty well, and now this looks just like an E26 light bulb thread. We'll add a fillet right at the bottom of this piece. Click fillet, select this bottom line, type 0.5. Select the shell tool, click this top face, type 0.5. If you get an error, you might be on sharp shell. Make sure you click rounded shell. And because of the shape of this bottom, I'm unable to select this face. So just press OK. Then I can press E to extrude, select this face, and go -1. That'll cut out the bottom of the E26 light bulb base. Right-click on the top-level component and select New Component. Label this Electrical Contact. We'll create an offset plane from the ground plane and go down -3.25. This dimension is set by the IEC. Create a sketch on that plane, press C, and create a center circle. This circle needs to be a minimum of 9.14 millimeters and a maximum of 11.56. I think 10 millimeters is a happy medium, so we'll type 10. Press E to extrude. Our distance will be 3.25, and we need a taper angle of 45 degrees. And press OK. Click Modify, Chamfer, and then select the top edge. Add a 0.5 millimeter chamfer, then select this top face, press E to extrude, and type 3. Notice that this is inside that light bulb fixture, and press OK. Right-click on the top level, select New Component, call this Metal Contact. You can either create a sketch right at the bottom of this or on an offset plane. I'll just create a sketch right at the bottom. For the electrical contact, I'm going to draw a circle, 9.4. Press E to extrude. We'll extrude 0.5 millimeter, and then we will fillet off this edge. 0.5 millimeter should be fine, and press OK. If I activate the top level component, you can see that we have the base of the E26 light bulb threads completely modeled. Now we can add the top part of the bulb and the actual globe. If you don't see all of your components as separate colors, you can select Inspect, Display Component Colors. Right-click the top-level component, select New Component. Label this component Bulb Base. Create a sketch and select one of the vertical planes. Press L and draw a vertical line down to somewhere in the middle of the top of the threads. Then draw out, then draw out again, up one more time, out, and then a slight vertical up. We now need to draw an arc, so select Checkmark, Create, Arc, 3-point arc. Click this top line and drag out your arc. Press L again and draw from the top of this arc over to this point. Now we need to clean up our sketch. Use the vertical and horizontal constraint to make this vertical, and we can give these some dimensions. Press D, select this bottom line, press D for dimension. We know this needs to be the radius minus a bit, so we can type 13 minus 0.6. This line should be vertical. We can make this point right here vertical above the origin. That locks it to the center. Then press D, select this top part. The radius is 49.3 divided by 2. This radius here to this point is 32 divided by 2. If I press P to project, I can project in this top line. Press OK. Press D, select this point in this top line, and we'll give it a dimension of 2, just so it goes inside the threads. From the top of the screw base to the top of the lamp base is 32. Sometimes Fusion moves your pieces around. You just kind of adjust those. The distance from the bottom of this farthest one is 4 millimeters. The distance from this ring is 15. Make sure this line is vertical. Give it a distance of 1 millimeter. And then that locks in that arc. Now we just need to lock in this height here. Press D, and it is 2 millimeters. Finish the sketch, and now we're ready to revolve this shape. Select Create, Revolve. In Autodesk Fusion, you need a profile and then an axis. Go ahead and press OK to make a new body. Now we can start filleting some of these edges. Click Fillet. These bottom two edges have a radius of 2, and press OK. This edge here has a radius of 1.5, and then this inner edge has a radius of 0.5. Now that the bottom is filleted, we're ready to shell the top of our light bulb. Click Shell, click this top face, and type 0.5. To have this go all the way through, hide the E26 threads, then hold Control and select this bottom face. Now it'll shell all the way through. Press OK, reshow the bottom threads, and now we have the base of our light bulb. We need to put just tiny fillet right here, both sides of this, and type 0.25, and press OK. Right-click at the top-level component, create new component, and we'll call this bulb globe. In order to create the light bulb globe, we need to create a sketch. Select Create Sketch, select one of the side planes. Now we need to draw a profile to revolve the bulb globe. To do that, press L for line, draw a vertical line in the middle. You can use the horizontal vertical constraint to center this over the origin. Then create an arc. Select Arc, 3-point arc. Click this line, and drag out. Press L to get a line tool again. Click the top here and draw out 10 millimeters. Select this line, press X to make it a construction line. Then use the tangent constraint to make the arc tangent to that line. We need to make the radius of the globe. Press D, click the arc. It is 58.5, but it's a radius, so divided by 2. Then for the height to the bottom, press P to project in the bottom part of this. And sometimes it's hard to get this bottom line, so you can use the selection filter of bodies, and it'll get all of it. Then press D, select this bottom line, go all the way up to the top, click this point. For this particular bulb, it's approximately 102 millimeters. And as you can see, that lines up practically perfect right there. Finish the sketch, select Revolve, click this profile. For the axis, we'll use the center axis, and we'll make a new body. If I click the top level component, you can see that we have a pretty nice light bulb. This plastic is probably a bit wider, so we can always go back to the shell command, edit this feature, and instead of a thickness of 0.5, we can make it 1 millimeter. You can adjust this based on the specifics of your bulb. Now that we've modeled our E26 light bulb, let's add some materials so we get nicer looking renders. Press A for the material library. We can search for ABS, drag ABS white out to this portion. The insulator down at the bottom is also ABS. Then depending on your particular bulb, it may be polished nickel or an aluminum. So I'm going to type in nickel, and it's probably polished. So I will click download for the polished and drag this out to this piece and this piece. Finally, we can either make this a milky translucence if you're not going to have the bulb on, or if you're going to have the bulb on, you can type emissive, and then there's a number of emissives. So if I want to have an 800 lumen bulb, I can just drag this right on there. If I close the appearances, then switch to the render tab, you'll see that our light bulb looks pretty great. If I do a quick in-canvas render, you can see that illumination shines out, and we have a great looking E26 light bulb. In another video, I'm going to show you how to use this to your advantage so you can make all kinds of well-lit scenes. But that is an advanced Autodesk Fusion rendering topic. For now, happy 3D modeling.